Welcome to Friday 5, where every single Friday this month, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to create 5 TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts for a company, a product, or a service to market them out on their social media platforms. Now, I'm not actually doing this work for any of these companies, but I am showing you examples if I were going to work with them of what I would do based on what their company is doing right now, how they're growing on social media, and what's really going to work well to engage with their specific audiences. So this week, we are going to focus on what I would do to help an author grow on social media. And because you know I am a multi-time best-selling fiction author, in addition to teaching you here, I'm going to be using my books as examples. So inside of Friday 5, we are going to be looking at 5 different TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts that I would be creating for that product or service provider and how it implements with their marketing strategy and their business and their audience. Let's take a look at the first one. What's that book about? She's forced to marry the son of her father's enemy. Oh, forced marriages. I love those. Yeah, except there's a twist. What's that? He's gonna make it look like his family accepts her and then murder her and make it look like an accident. Wait, he's really gonna hurt her? She finds out and has to convince him to fall in love with her for real in order to survive. Does she do it? I mean, one chooses life, one chooses death, and in the midst of chaos, only one will succeed. So, okay, I have to read this. You totally have to read this. One of the best things that we can do on social media right now, especially on TikTok, is to give that parody, character talking back and forth conversations. People love to be entertained, and so when you have something that hooks them in from the beginning and keeps them there as the dialogue goes back and forth, you're going to do really well. Now, I understand not everybody's going to do character parodies, you're not going to be funny about everything, but if you have the ability to have 2 different characters having a conversation, I highly recommend doing that or doing a point of view. POVs are really popular on social media right now as well. So you can see with that video, I pulled one of my episodes of a series I call Reader Convos. I have 2 readers talking back and forth and they say, what's that book about? And they kind of go through the series of what's happening inside of that story. It's a fun and relatable way to tell people what the thing is about that we're talking about, and you can implement this too. So you can have 2 characters talking about the PDF you're giving away, or you can have 2 characters talking about the new workshop you have coming out. Anything that's going to talk a little bit in an engaging and fun, snappy, fast-paced way about the product or service you're offering is going to do really, really well for you. Now, you can choose to dress up and change outfits and change backgrounds for all these different things, or you can just kind of keep it very basic and just move your camera around a little bit. It entirely depends on what you want to do, but if you do want to scale up a little bit, you can change your look for these. Add a pair of glasses. I typically go to a dollar store, get cheap glasses, punch the lenses out so they don't have that glare, and it gives me a new look. Or I change my hairstyle, I change my shirt, I'll change the background, but you can go as simplistic as you want for this. You just want to make sure you're having some type of dialogue back and forth about what it's about. And if you don't like 2 characters talking, you have the ability to just have yourself talking about what the thing is and just kind of switch it around so the background is going to be different so that it's a snappy conversation that you're having with your audience and not with another character. So that's going to be a really great one for you to then be able to disseminate information about what it is in an engaging, fun, and entertaining way without being too salesy about it. Let's take a look at our second. Now, particularly popular in the reading community, we have something where we're just going to show off what the product actually is, and we're going to have text over it. So for authors, it's incredibly smart to pick up your book and just flip through the pages because people will recognize what a book is, they know what it is, and then you're going to be able to use text overlays on top of that. Right now, that is thriving on the platform. So you should be looking in your communities to see what's popular and what's trending and lean into those things. Now, you can implement this into your marketing strategy as well. If you have something that you can kind of flip, or you can kind of move around, or even if you've got an actual physical product, grab something where you can put it on like a lazy Susan and just spin it around slowly, or do some type of slow motion thing moving across the screen. You want to make sure that you are using something that kind of shows it off, but moving in different angles or different ways so that it is eye-catching and is not a static image. Then over top of that, you can put your text. So you have the ability to put text about what it's about or how it benefits people or who it's for. Or if you are doing something where you've got a quote from somebody, you can pop that up as well. In the book community, we want to get people to see what's on the inside of our books, and so making sure that we've got text overlays from inside of our book, actual lines, usually spicier lines, but you know how that works. You can put something that's going to be eye-catching and engaging and make people stop. So as long as they recognize the product or the type of product that you're showing off, whether you're spinning it around, you're flipping pages open, or you are dropping it onto a bed, or you're dropping it somewhere, or you're raising it up. It doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as they can see it and recognize, oh, that's a thing that I understand what it is. And then you have that text overlay on top of it. That's going to get their attention and make them stop to read what's going on. And then you can direct them back to where you need them to go, engaging with you more. Let's take a look at our third option. Book tour time. This is my Goldilocks retelling where she was never naive. She was sent on a mission and Dover is her new target. So we've got Goldilocks' hair on the cover with the forest behind her. We've got her running in the background and in the back. This is the 5-book omnibus series, and each story inside has a unique chapter header, which is hidden pictures. So there's 20-some hidden pictures in each and every one of these chapter headers. So as you're reading the story, you can start to identify the little things hidden in the chapter headers. And each book inside of this series, the 5-book collection, has a unique header where you can start looking for those hidden pictures as you go. So we've got all 5 books in one, and our quotes are on the back from different authors who loved and read the story. Harkening back to our earlier conversation, we know that showing off our product is incredibly important, which is why we want to do something like a book tour for authors. We want authors to be showing off their covers, their book spines, their back covers. We want to be showing off our chapter headers, our scene dividers. If we have special things inside of the books like maps or really great quotes from other authors, we want to show these things off because that gives us credibility and it gets people's interest. So I highly recommend starting off by saying book tour and showing people the inside of your stories. Now you can implement this into your strategy by showing off your products. You can do the same thing. Call it a PDF tour, call it a Candlebox tour, call it a spa day tour, whatever it happens to be. You're showing these things off, and then you're going to be showing off things that people don't typically see. So think about it this way. When books are on shelves in bookstores, what do we see? Well, typically we see the spine, occasionally we see the cover, and if people are looking on Amazon or if they're looking at, a book buying website, they're not really going to see the interior. Our goal with this is to show them things that they're not going to see if they just see it at a distance on a shelf somewhere. So if you've got a product, if you've got something that you're offering that you can then take them inside of and show them the interior of it, whether it's a digital calendar that you've created or journal pages or whatever it happens to be, if you can show those things off, that gives them that exclusive insider access and makes them relate to it more. And if it's something cool, that makes them want it a little bit more. Like for mine, I have special, very cool chapter headers that actually show off hidden pictures inside of it. Nobody else has that, or very few people. I don't know of anybody that has that. So that's going to get their attention. So show off those things, really highlight those, and make sure you treat this in a way where they're getting that exclusive insider access. Let's take a look at our next. He was a force of nature. He could warm your soul like the sun and then bury you in ice the next second. He was more destructive than any universal element has ever been or could ever be. It was his way, to be like a hurricane crashing upon the shores or lightning splintering everything in its path. He was a force, but he was my force. And in the end, it didn't matter, because he disappeared just like the weather always does, here for one brief moment and gone the next. His name was Jack, and his love for me was like a flood, now frozen over. The Conspiracy of Jack Frost by K.M. Robinson, a dark, twisted take on Jack Frost and an out-of-control weather machine only he can stop, and somebody in the bunker has betrayed them all with a twist you won't see coming. So as you can see, when it comes to physical products or even digital products, our goal is to really get people hooked on what's inside of our product, the things that they get access to when they get their hands on the physical, tangible, or digital product that we are offering. So it is very important for authors or entrepreneurs of any kind to really go in depth with what's going on here. Now we know with short form content, it has to be very short. So when I did a book reading of my story, you'll notice I didn't read the first chapter. I didn't read the entire first page. I didn't read a couple of pages. I read the prologue. It was like 3 or 4 paragraphs. It was very short and easy for people to consume. So you want to find a section of your book or your product or your service to show off that's really juicy, that's really going to get them ready for what they're going to experience inside of your book or your product. So you can find a really good romance scene, or you can find a really good action scene, or you can find a fight scene. You can find something, and I highly recommend, friends, that if you are doing this on a book, you are looking at last paragraphs in your chapters, because those should be ending on cliffhangers to get us into the next chapter, and people want to know what's coming next. So read your prologue, if that makes sense to get them into the story of your book, and you can read those ending chapters to a chapter or something that leads into a big action that they have to then get the book to find out what happens next. Your job with this is to get them on that little cliffhanger note with whatever product or service you're offering and get them to have to see what comes next. Let's look at the next. The interesting thing with social media right now is that a lot of the content is very low effort and low energy content, particularly in the author community. A lot of authors don't want to spend time or effort or show themselves on camera or spend more than 10 seconds doing a piece of content, which means we can lean heavily into those low effort trends to get results because that's what the community expects right now. So recently, we've seen a lot of authors just showing off their books a little bit and then putting text overlays with a passage from their story on that video, and they're seeing tremendous book sales from this because it's recognizable, because it gets people's attention, and because it shows a snippet of what's on the inside of it. So with this one, I took my book and I put it in different locations. I moved it around so that it was not a static image. I made sure that I was showing off the cover, the title, my author name, and I was really showing off what the outside of the product looked like, because we do in fact judge a book by its cover, and that's what gets our attention first more than anything else. So if we have the opportunity to really show off our product by putting it in different locations and then using camera pans to move it around, that's a very low effort way of doing this. We don't have to be on camera, we don't even have to talk, and we have the ability to then put a passage or some text over it. Now you can put a passage from your story, so a paragraph of information, and I do recommend putting a couple of lines at a time so they have to stay through the entire video to watch it. Or I could be saying quotes from an author about my book, or I can be talking about the genres and the tropes and the trends inside of my stories that people might recognize. If you like reading this kind of thing, you might like this book. So you have the opportunity to use this for your product or service as well and implement that into your marketing strategy. Now, every single Friday, I will be breaking down 5 TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts that I would be making for a company or a product to show you how you can be doing this as well. I do have a number of different companies, they are not all mine, out into the list of things we're going to be doing. So the next couple of weeks, you will be seeing me create and break down 5 different short form video content pieces for different brands and companies. We're going to be talking about technology, we'll be talking about online courses and digital services and all of those things. So we get a wide variety of this, but I want to hear from you. What is it that you do? Let me know down in the comments below, because while I have our first set of Friday Fives completed and ready to go, I may continue this series in the future if this is something that you find helpful, and I want to make sure I'm creating content specifically for you so that you don't have to say, oh, well, that's cool for an author, but how can I implement this as a professional chef? Let me know what you do so I can cater more of what I do to what you do, so it's less guesswork on your part and more directly taking the ideas and implementing them into your business. Questions or comments on this, go ahead and let me know down below. And as always, you can come hang out with me at KM Robinson Life on Instagram and TikTok, where you can see the content that I am creating and putting out into social media to talk to the community and to build up what we are doing and to help you out with real life examples as well. Hit that subscribe and notification bell, because every single day we are jumping into brand new videos to help you level up on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, live streaming, and with the tools and resources you need to save time and effort on social media, so you only have to spend less than 5 minutes to create a short form piece of content to put out on social media that will do really well to build your community, your conversation, and help you make more money online without the stress of creating it, so you can run your business and live your best life. I'll see you in the next episode, and I'll see you next Friday for another episode of Friday 5.